The Hulk, the Kermit, the Starbucks, the Great White. Now, these are just some of the nicknames for Rolex Submariners and Sea Dwellers. We're going to go through the list of the ones that you might have not heard of before. David, how's it going again?
Doing very well, very well. It's been a while.
It's been so long. I haven't seen you in forever. It's so funny. I appreciate you wearing the same shirt as last time.
Honestly, I have multiples of these. It's a capsule wardrobe. I'm like Mark Zuckerberg of LB.
There you go. Yeah. Same. I'm just wearing just our merch. P.S. This hoodie is dropping on the 17th of May.
Such good quality.
I mean, my God, I can't get out of it. Honestly, I will wear it.
It's
nonstop.
great. I really like the sleeve detail. That's super cool.
Yeah.
I've never seen that. I've never seen that being done on any other merch ever. So
that is probably just because I'm a genius.
Marketing genius.
I'll give credit when it's due. That's very cool.
No, I wanted to do something different. Obviously, I didn't want to just jump on the bandwagon of everybody just putting their logo and shit. So we created an entirely new brand that can be worn by anybody. You don't have to be a Luxury Bazaar supporter. You could just be like, gray market sounds cool. I want to rock that.
No, it does. And
obviously, unauthorized dealer could be anything.
It could, for really.
You're going to see dudes on the street corners wearing these.
And yeah, honestly, I'm excited to see all the new things that we have in store as well.
Oh,
like
we have some sick
to
shit.
have the line expand. There's the possibilities are endless.
Unlimited potential.
Unlimited.
So the Rolex Submariner is probably the most iconic Rolex of all time, beloved by celebrities, by fictional characters, by collectors, by dealers, by regular people everywhere. The Sea Dweller is probably a little bit more niche, I would say. You have to kind of be like, I want a Sea Dweller.
You definitely have to go out and find one, right?
Yeah, it's not like, I wouldn't say it's the most recognizable watch in the world. You would assume it's a sub, but it could be a Sea Dweller. They have numerous nicknames for them. Not as many as some of the previous episodes that we've done, like the Daytona or the GMT Masters, probably because they just don't have that many models. There aren't that many different references, I guess. They're mostly relatively basic. Let's jump into them. Let's start with some of the easier ones. Oh, sorry. First one is the Rolex Hulk. Tell me, what is a Rolex Hulk?
So, the Hulk, a.k.a. Bruce Banner, from last time. I had to Google that because I got my Bruce's done. So, yeah, Hulk, Rolex Hulk. So, this is the 116610 LV, yeah, yep. LV Lunette Verte. And, yeah, so this is great watch. Discontinued in 2020. Very, very desirable. They're kind of hard to get in really good condition. Yeah. It's a beautiful piece.
So green ceramic bezel, green dial, oyster case. I wonder why they never made it. Maybe they'll re-release it with like a Jubilee. Yeah, oyster case, oyster bracelet. Why don't they have a Jubilee bracelet?
I mean, am I having a brain fart here? But I don't know if they do. Do they do this sub on a Jubilee?
No.
No. Yeah. Right. So I think they're kind of really sticking to like the whole diving ethos of the brand, right? Whereas
but then again, the GMT Master, like what?
GMT is a tool watch for aviators.
So what's the difference?
So I mean, aviators are.
Land and sea.
Land and sea, right? And the oyster is a lot more of a robust case, like say, or a bracelet. If you're going to like put it over your wetsuit, there's less areas for it to fail since there are less pins.
Okay,
that's why I
appreciate that opinion. Obviously, super recognizable. This is the Green Hulk. Like this is why it's named the Hulk. Next one. Now these are kind of getting a little bit tricky. So the next one we have is the Rolex Kermit. This is the 16610 LV, whereas the Hulk was the 1166. This is the first Submariner with a green bezel. It was the first one that they ever created with a green bezel. Green aluminum bezel and black dial was introduced to celebrate the collection's 50th anniversary in 2003.
So you have the Kermit, you have the Cermit, and you have the Starbucks.
Correct. This is where it gets tricky.
It does. So you have the Kermit, right, which is the way I like to differentiate them is I like to say, even though the one on the right, is so the ceramic one is technically a Kermit or a Cermit. We like to call it a Starbucks just because people confuse it with the ones on the the two ones on the other left, so the aluminum insert. Now there's one that has the center one, which has a lighter green shade. All right, that's the true Kermit. That's the true Kermit right there.
So again, on the right, we have the Rolex Starbucks, which is the newer variation, which is just really the only thing that's different is a 41 millimeter case, whereas the Kermit was a 40, right? I mean, that's really the only thing different.
Well, you know
Obviously,
what? Now that I'm looking at it, you could see it's more of a matte finish on the bezel.
that's because it's ceramic compared to aluminum.
Yeah, so right, yeah,
Gotcha.
exactly.
Makes sense.
All kind of, falling in the same family.
Yeah, very desirable watch, the Starbucks. I mean, I don't think it gives off as much like presence as the Hulk, but it's just a great
Yeah,
great.
the green stands out. Let me ask you a question on a Starbucks. What are we looking at market price today?
Market price on a Starbucks, we're at around 17K, 17,250. We had a few of them for brand new.
How about Hulk?
Hulk, wow. So
That's
Hulk,
at like the 25,
yeah.
26.
So Hulk, yeah, we're
That
going to be
varies.
for a really nice example. We're at like 22.5, 23,000
Okay.
for that one.
And a Kermit?
Kermit around 18 grand.
Okay. So, I mean, the Kermit and the Starbucks are around the same. The Hulk, because it's rare and harder to find in good condition,
Exactly.
you're paying more for it. Now, next one is probably one of my favorites. This is the Rolex Bluesy. Now, the Rolex Bluesy is any two-tone yellow, gold, and stainless steel Rolex Submariner watch with a blue bezel and dial.
Yeah, honestly, this watch here, at first I didn't really understand. I didn't really get it. I didn't really I wasn't ever drawn to this watch.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, honestly, when I started working here, I started handling them, and then I really, started appreciating them a lot more. Especially the ceramic versions, right?
Yeah.
So they I understand why it's a crowd favorite now, because they just give off such presence, and you can wear them with a myriad of things.
Anything,
You can wear it, with a suit, or very easily you can dress it down as well.
Especially with the two-tone.
Yeah, especially with the two-tone.
It's the only watch I've ever actually purchased for myself. But if you see the picture right here, you're seeing the sunburst dials. The
Yep.
one that I really like that we don't have on this picture is the flat blue. So the flat matte dial just to me was like more refined than the sunburst.
No, I agree. There's something that I wouldn't say that the detracts, but it's entirely different. What I do like is we purchased one not too long ago. Actually, took it in on a trade for a AP15
What price?
400.
What's the price of this thing?
So actually, this one was very special. So it's the bluesy Certi. So Certi in French means when you set stones.
Yeah, the stone.
So it's actually a ceramic version. So you'd often see Certis on the previous pre-ceramic versions, but this was a ceramic with diamonds. And yeah, that was the first time I'd seen it, and it's stunning. For that, we're around. They don't command such a high premium,
Yeah.
but since it's a 2012, we're at like around 19 grand for that.
Okay. I remember when I bought it for 11.5, sold it about, I'm going to say a year later for 14.
There we go. That's where the
And
money's
this was
at.
pre-pandemic. This was
Right.
before.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, all the crazy hype.
Wow.
Some references of the Bluesy are 16803, 16613, 116613, and the newest one, the 126613. Next, we're moving on to the Rolex Smurf. Rolex Smurf is the now discontinued white gold Submariner reference number 116619LB for Luxury Bazaar.
Yeah.
There it is. Luxury Bazaar Edition. Thank you, Rolex, for hooking us up.
I appreciate that.
Exactly. We finally got one.
We got it.
Took us long
Blue
enough.
ceramic bezel, blue dial. This thing is awesome.
It is. I think hugely underrated watch.
Yeah.
I don't think people don't really take this. Also, one, I think it's because it's a precious metal. If this was stainless and it had the blue, people would go crazy for it. They would go nuts.
This makes it more special.
But I mean, the thing is that it's quite heavy. Two, it scratches a little easier.
You know how like blue was always a color that I either went with like platinum or
Right.
white gold. Like I feel like
Yeah. I see. But these are still, you can get them in around the $42 to $45,000 range, which isn't such a huge difference over retail, which I think is like in the 30s.
Would you take this or would you take an Oyster Flex Daytona for 40? Like again in the 40s, let's say.
Ooh, that's a tough. Probably Oyster Flex Daytona.
Really?
Yeah, I do an Oyster Flex Daytona
Yeah.
for sure.
Even though you're getting precious metal here.
Oh no, I'd get an Oyster Flex Daytona for 40 in white gold.
Yeah, and white gold.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're getting precious metal on the bracelet here. You're getting weight. You're getting value.
I know. I understand that there's more intrinsic value.
Yeah,
to it,
I agree with you,
But I
though.
agree that the Oyster Flex
Yeah,
Daytona
it's
is
just a cooler watch.
Yeah, it's a cool watch.
I had that for my honeymoon in the white gold on Oyster
This one?
Flex.
Or the Oyster Flex?
The Oyster Flex Daytona on the white gold. beautiful.
It's
it was
an amazing
perfect.
watch. I'm actually considering getting one for myself next, but I fell in love with the.
Gray dial?
No, I actually want the Paul Newman.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Next one we have is the Rolex Cookie Monster, which is the current white gold Submariner 126619 LB, again for Luxury Bazaar.
Or blueberry.
What?
Blueberry.
I mean, the nickname is Cookie Monster.
Cookie Monster, yeah, I know a Cookie Monster, but it's
Are you trying to change the nickname?
No, I
of
mean,
this?
I don't know. This is something I heard where it's just maybe it's.
I mean, blueberry makes no sense because even blueberries are not even blue; they're purple.
Well, I mean, kind of looks like a blueberry to me.
Yes. Blue ceramic bezel, black dial. So just like we have the Kermit, the Cermit, the Starbucks, the Hulk, where you have the same color dial and bezel, here you have the Smurf, which is the dial and bezel, both blue, whereas the Cookie Monster has a black dial and a blue bezel.
So yeah, this one here, very tough to. I mean, they're you can get them quite easily. It's kind of a tough sell when we
Really?
Yeah. Strangely enough, you know, there was a period where we had one for a long time. I think underrated as well. I think it's outshone by its sibling. So the blue
I
dial.
think the precious metal ones just don't have that much demand behind them.
They don't because the thing is with the precious metal watches, the delta between the list and resell is smaller, so it's a better value per se. But you know, not a lot of people are willing to fork up that.
Which is funny because people would pay the same price for a stainless steel watch that's super hype,
Right?
You know, just because everybody has it and they want it. Whereas this, you're actually getting legitimate value of the gold.
No, for sure.
Now, sure, it's not melt. It's not the same value as what it would be. But
No, for sure. I mean, but they wear nicely. It's just I don't know why there aren't people chasing these watches.
never were. Next one we got is the Rolex James Bond Vintage Submariner 6538, known as James Bond because it appeared in several 007 films, starring Sean Connery, including Dr. No, 1962, From Russia with Love in 1963, and Goldfinger in 1964.
Very cool watch. I mean, what can you say? This is
Beautiful.
James Bond when James Bond should wear a Rolex. I mean, Omega is a great brand, but
Now that one shoots lasers.
Yeah. This is the one that shoots lasers. You see you see it at 12 o'clock.
Yeah. You pop the crown out, point it. It's also a radio and telephone.
And I think James Bond should wear a Rolex. It's a shame that they didn't continue with that. But funnily
sold
enough,
out.
I was speaking
They did sell out.
to a friend and a client who's a huge James Bond friend. Shout out to the Jordan Identity, and he said he actually told me that there was a period where Audemars Piguet was in talks with James Bond. Actually, this was pre Omega, right? And I believe they didn't come to a deal, and they didn't want to fork out the licensing rights. And Omega stepped in, and well, the rest is history.
Thankfully, Invicta did not.
Right.
Oh, jeez.
And moving on to our next Submariner nickname, the Rolex Milsub. So the Milsub is a nickname given to a vintage Submariner 5513 and 5517, made for the British Ministry of Defence, the MOD.
It's got the tie markers on the hands and see that?
Oh, yeah. The tie shape.
Tie shape.
Well, yeah, very interesting.
So it's marked by that T,
T.
that you have over there.
So did these watches? Did they always come on a NATO strap, or was it on bracelet? I'm curious to know.
Oh, interesting.
I do not know the answer to that.
I think this is the only
If you know the answer to this, please let us know in the comments.
And I think if you are a serviceman or
woman,
somebody in like a professional or tactical capacity, I think that's the only time you're allowed to wear your watch inversed like that.
Oh yeah.
So, exactly. So you can see what time it is when you're kicking down doors, right?
I love it when like brands do that. Like, how about is it the Cartier that's like tilted so that when you're driving,
the driver's watch, yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love it when they really do something creative like that.
Or the Vacheron Constantin. So they took every fiber in my body not to say Vacheron Constantin. Vacheron Constantin, the 1920 historic 1921. It's just kind of canted over, so you're always able to see what time it is.
And our final Submariner nickname is the Rolex Red Submariner. The Red Submariner is the nickname for a vintage sub 1680 with a Submariner name printed in red on the dial. Pretty self-explanatory there.
Very, very, very cool as well. And if I could add an honorable mention, so as well in red. So this is it's the Supreme Submariner.
Oh.
Yeah, that one is great. I mean, it's not an official Rolex. If you know, you know. We were lucky enough to be able to see one when we were in New York. A client and a collector brought one in, and that was pretty crazy to see in real life.
How rare are they?
They are very rare. Just friends and family. So, if you know, you know piece.
Would you pay extra just because it has the Supreme logo on it?
Well,
You personally.
Well, I mean, it says something else on the dial, but
Yeah, I know it says.
but
Fuck them or fuck you.
yeah,
or
fuck them. It's
fuck
fuck
'em,
them.
yeah.
Yeah.
There he goes. You said it.
I would definitely pay for that. I'm not huge into Supreme, but just given, you know, I'm a big fan of the middle finger, so that's kind of a me watch, you know.
Moving on, Rolex Sea Dweller nicknames. So the Sea Dweller obviously has way less. The most known one is the James Cameron.
For sure.
It is a deep sea with a blue to black gradient dial. Special dial was made to honor James Cameron's record-breaking dive into the Mariana Trench in 2012. Mariana Trench?
Mariana Trench, yeah.
Good
Mariana
riddance.
Trench. I mean,
This is probably one of the most wanted ones.
it is. Yeah, it is. So it's the 126660, and it.
Don't mess up because they'll
No,
roast
no,
you.
they'll get me. They'll get me. So there's the 126660. It's three. Well, yeah, 126660, and then there's a 13660, and you know, it's a stunning piece. A little too big for me to pull off, but I know I have
thick.
clients who really do like that command presence, or gentlemen who are, you know, have a larger stature. I mean, I'm pretty big, but I have a smaller wrist, and
It's funny because like I always just wondered why would somebody just get a regular Sea Dweller? If you're going to get a Sea Dweller, this is what you're getting. You know what I mean?
no,
Like,
for sure. But you know, I had a client who had the same use case. He wanted a bigger watch, but he wanted to wear it in more, I'd say, more business casual. And this might be a little bit too sporty with the neon writing of the
Especially
deep
with the size.
Yeah,
It's big.
It's big. Yeah,
big.
It's big, but it's not as big as what else is there out there.
the titanium one that
The
they released.
challenge, exactly.
Challenge. All right, moving on to the Rolex Double Red Sea Dweller. Double Red Sea Dweller, also known as the Rolex DRSD, nickname given to vintage Sea Dweller 1665 with two lines of text, Sea Dweller and Submariner 2000 printed in red on the dial.
Beautiful.
Very rare.
Very rare. This is what like has, you know, Rolex geeks just
Yeah.
salivating. Just
Yeah.
like, oh,
Oh,
my
I know.
God.
Look at the
There's two
cream
lines
on
of
the
red.
dial.
I'm sorry?
The cream color on the dial. Oh, come on.
What picture are you looking at?
Really, man.
Yes. Do you mean like the dial marker or the hour markers?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I mean, you
Definitely
know,
off-white.
if you're dependent on being able to read the time in a very efficient and distinct manner, especially if you're running out of oxygen, there's no better way to do it than with double red.
Yeah, if I was a big fan of vintage, this is one of the ones I would go for.
For sure.
Moving on to the Rolex Great White. The Rolex Great White refers to any vintage Sea Dweller reference 1665 with all white text on the dial. So this has no other indication that this is an all white except for the fact that it has no red
Okay.
or blue
Wow.
or green or neon.
Oh my,
Purple.
wow.
I wonder how rare this is. Research doesn't give you that much insight into the rarity of these. And also, pricing is all over the board with these, so it's hard
Right.
to know what's real and what's not,
Yeah,
which
it's
is why I'm not even talking about pricing when it comes to vintage watches.
It's what
No.
comes at auction.
Yep.
Who's willing to get, you know, whatever was found,
Quality.
you know, tucked away in a
Yeah.
in a couch cushion at a yard sale.
That'd be
or
a
something.
nice couch cushion.
Yeah.
Really, like the Paul Newmans that got.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
And the final one we have for the Sea Dweller nicknames is the Rolex Triple Six. The Triple Six is a nickname given to the Sea Dweller reference 16660, introduced in 1978, and the first Sea Dweller to feature a sapphire crystal.
Wow. Six Mafia, actually the brand that, or the rap collective from Memphis, Tennessee that really really, really influenced me when I was a kid. So I can relate to this watch. Thank you.
Okay, well, that's really good, way to introduce the 666. If you know of any other nicknames for submariners or sea dwellers, please comment below. Please let us know if you like the show, if you like what we're doing here, if anything you'd like to see us do more of, less of. But always show support, like, comment, subscribe, share the videos with everybody you know, and we'll see you next time on another episode of Gray Market Podcast.